Bienvenidos a todos ustedes. Welcome all to my channel, Dolls by Mr. Fabre. And if you haven't guessed, I am Mr. Fabre. Now, I know that we are in a different location setting than where I normally film. I'm currently in my kitchen. Frankly, I'm recording here just because the lighting is probably the best lighting that I have currently in the 6 p.m. time frame. If you see right here, the sun's already set. So this is the best lighting currently, which would be in my kitchen. So I'm not gonna make this intro too long. This is a continuation of learning how to reroot dolls. This is part 2. And if you watched part 1, we've already went over the prep work when it comes to preparing your doll head, getting ready for the reroot. Now that we have that out of the way, now we can have fun and start rerooting our doll. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera over. We're going to be in my room, in my office desk, and we'll go ahead and start our rerooting project. All right, so we are on the other side, once again in my very old desk. So I do have quite a bit of things here. These are some of the these are the supplies that you will need for your doll rerooting. So what I have here is when you start the reroots, you're going to need your rerooting needle or whatever this is, pen, and then of course you're going to need rerooting needles. And then obviously the hair. And this is the hair that we're using. It's from the Doll Planet and it is white crimped hair called Snow Drip. So we'll worry about these clips. We'll worry about everything else later, but we'll mainly focus on what we have over here. So personally, for me, when you're starting to reroot, I would highly suggest using curly hair first, just so you can get the rhythm and motion when it comes to grabbing the hair and putting it in the plugs. Just because with straight hair, it can be a little bit more tedious because you have to pick out the hair yourself and then put it in the plug, versus hair that's already curly or crimped. They already come separated, so you don't have to do that extra work in finding the density and then putting it in the hair. Straight hair could be a little bit more finicky to work with, especially if you're using nylon hair. So nylon straights, because this is nylon crimped, but this is a lot easier to use than a straight nylon. So I would highly suggest to work on curly hair just until you get the rhythm. At least your first, like maybe 1 to 2 reroots, do curly hair first so you can get the rhythm and motion, and then you can do straight hair. So of course you want to have the scissors to cut the hair. The typical amount of hair you need for a doll reroot is at least a 1 ounce pack of hair. For most Barbies specifically, you'll need at least 1 pack of hair to do so. This is 1 ounce of hair. You have to cut this in half in order to complete the Barbie head. If you want to make the hair super, super long, then I would suggest grabbing 2 packs of hair, but I'm okay with having 1 pack of hair. That's cool. So I'm going to show examples on how cutting the hair in half, how it looks versus when you don't cut the hair in half and you have it be a hole. So I do have 2 reroots here. They both have the same curl pattern. So this one here is my Barbie Basics number 3 doll, which I think is the Claudette face mold. And that's how she looks. This is how the hair looks when it's cut in half. This is I think 6 millimeter. curls, and I just use a steamer to relax the curl. So if you see here, it reaches probably up to her butt. So that's how it looks when the hair is cut in half. If you want a more dramatic look, and if you don't want to cut the hair, this is how the hair will look if you don't cut the hair. This is the first reroot I ever did. And if you see here, it basically reaches up to her ankles, but if you were to stretch the hair, it will go past. So this is the hair uncut. And again, I used a steamer to relax the curl, and this is how the curls look. The hair is super thick and dense. Of course, if you want a more dramatic look, then I would suggest, you know, maybe not cutting the hair in half, but you do have to use 2 packs of hair on this versus my reroot here. Even the curl that I have over here, these are the hair cut in half. So just a little perspective when you want to start rerooting. Like I said, we're going to start with the crimped hair first. It's nice and fluffy. So what I like to do is I like to tighten this little twist tie here, and then I like to push this back a little bit, and then of course we're going to get to cutting. I would suggest to use like actual cutting shears. They have some inexpensive hair cutting shears like at Target, at Walmart, or even the Sally's Beauty Supply that you can grab it from. Okay, so this will be the hair that we'll work with. And if you see already, the hair is kind of already separating. And see, it makes it so much easier to reroot the hair because it already comes kind of like you can just grab the hair and go, versus the straight hair, you have to be very careful with picking out the hair, and you know, and a lot of problems that will maybe happen when you first start rerooting is you grab too much hair, and you'll know you have too much hair when you're putting the hair in the plugs, is if your needle breaks. Now, I've had so many times where the needle has broken on me. So I do have an alternative for that. So when it comes to rerooting, more specifically Barbie hair, or Barbie heads, I recommend using either a number 5 and a number 7 rerooting needle. The number 7 is the smallest that you can get. There's probably even smaller, but I believe the Doll Planet, which is where I get my supplies from, I think the smallest needle they have is a 7. There's also a 5 as well. So I'm going to show like a little side-by-side comparison that the 7 is significantly smaller than the 5. I would suggest to use the number 7 needle to do all of the rerooting around the hairline as well as the part line, just to avoid any type of scalp splits. Now, something that you could do if you'd like is, because with the number 7 needle, of course, you have to grab less hair. Oh, now it will focus. Look at that. So that's how the number 7 needle looks. And I'm not sure if I can show. And if you see the number 5, how much like bigger that looks. Like you'll see the difference there. So that's the difference between the number 7 needle on the left and then, or the one that has it in the one that's in the, I don't know, the pen, the needle. And then you have the number 5 here, which is, you can see has a bigger, I guess, little gap thing. So something that you could do maybe to add some more hair on the doll, if you want to reroot a doll with thick hair, use the number 5 needle on the interior of the hair, because you're able to grab more hair with a number 5. And then of course you can use the 7 for the detailing work here around the hairline and then on the part line as well. So anyway, let's get started, and we'll worry about the other supplies later when we get to it. But yes, this is where we're starting at now. And when we'll just focus, there we go. So there are different ways to start rerooting. So one method that I like to do, I believe is called the knot method. So you want to make sure you have the hair here, and then you want to do an X like this. So you want to make sure that the hair goes over, that it's going away from you. So it goes like this, and then you create an X like this. Hold it with your middle finger. So it should look like this. And then what I like to do is you can either grab the hair either like this, but I typically don't like to do this anymore. I used to do it this way for a long time. Something that'll happen with repetitive use is that you'll start stabbing yourself with the needle here, and it's not uncomfortable, but you definitely start picking at your skin. So what I like to do is I like to go where my nail plate is, because of course it's more smooth. And then you want to use the longer parts of the needle. So you want to make sure that the needle is the longer parts on the bottom and the shorter parts at the top. And then you'll scoop it from underneath, raise, and then what you want to do is press your index finger next to the needle. Don't put it on top, because you're going to stab yourself. So you're going to put it against here, and then what you're going to do is just loop like this. And then this is what's considered the knot method. And then from there, you'll just put the plug, or the hair on the doll. And let's do that again. Something that I didn't realize is you want to make sure that the hair is even on both sides. If you see that it's a little uneven, so I'll go ahead and do that out. We'll do that again, but we'll make sure to do it where both sides are even. So just give me one moment. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do that one more time. So what you're gonna do is you're going to grab the piece of hair, and then you want to make sure that the hair is going away from you, and then loop it around. And then of course, make sure that the hair is in an X motion. And then what you want to do is grab the hair from the nail plates. Grab the hair like this. Put your index finger, just put it right against the needle. Don't, like I said, don't stab yourself. Just put it slightly against, and then just let go, and then just do like this, and then you have a little knot here. All right, let's just do that one more time. So just grab a piece of hair, and like I mentioned, like it's pretty simple to grab a piece because the hair is already divided. And then let's zoom in. So what you want to do once again is you have the piece of hair. You want to make sure that you are wrapping it around your finger like this, away from you, then go down, come back, go up, and then loop it around again. And then you want to make sure that both sides are even. If you look like this, the side over here is shorter than this side. So what I like to do is I like to just grab the hair that's on the shorter side, which would be here, and then just pull it up. So if you see, pull, 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 and then there we go. Now it's pretty much even. So then of course, when you get to here, let's see if this will focus. There we go. So then of course you want to grab make sure that the longer side of the needle's underneath, and then you want to scoop it from under. Make sure all the hair is caught on here, and then just put your index finger against the needle to capture the hair. Let go of the index finger that's holding the hair, and then just pull. And then you'll have a knot created, and then you'll just place it. You just place it in the plug, and there you go. So that's what we have so far. And then I will go ahead and usually when it comes, people have different ways on how they like to reroot. Personally, for me, I like to do the entire hairline, and then I'll do the interior, and I save the middle part. or I'll save the parting for last because I feel like that's what makes or breaks the reroot. So yeah, that's just a tutorial on how to actually reroot. And personally for me, I like to use the knot method. I find it to be the easiest personally. There are other ways to do it, some more advanced, some more basic, but I feel like this is a good in between. So I'll demonstrate how to do it one more time. So you have the piece of hair here, and then what you do is you want to make sure that the hair that you have is going away from you first, and then make sure to pull it down towards you, up, and then away, and then keep it down like this. And again, the goal is to make like a little X here, and then make sure to check your work to see if the hair is even. It's a little bit shorter on this side. So what I like to do is I like to pull the hair until it meets. Okay, let's see, it's still a little bit shorter, so we'll go ahead and do it like that. And it doesn't have to be completely perfect, but you just want to make sure that both ends are as close to even as possible. Okay, so then from there, what you want to do, grab the underneath from the needle, and then you want to scoop the hair, put your index finger against the needle, let go, and then just pull back. And there we go, we have another plug or another knot that we can insert in the doll. So this is what we have so far. And again, when you first start, it's going to be tedious and it's going to take a while till you get used to this, but I will go ahead and get back to you when I'm finished doing the entire hairline. So stay tuned. All right, so here is a progress update. So I currently rerooted the entire hairline, and like I mentioned before, there are many different ways to reroot that you will eventually get comfortable with. You have a certain pattern that you like to do. Personally, for me, I just find it the easiest to just start with the hairline first. Also because next to the part line, the hairline can be the most finicky and the most prone to scalp splits. So you definitely, in my opinion, if I have to repair a scalp split, I would rather do it in the beginning versus doing the entire, doing the entire head and then getting a scalp split. So I like to get the hairline out of the way. So if there is a potential scalp split, I can just get that out of the way. So yes, this is currently what we have so far. And then I will go ahead and start rerooting the interior. I don't really have a certain pattern that I follow. If I am using multiple shades of hair, I do a specific pattern just so it can create a highlighted effect. When you're first starting, again, I'd recommend maybe just using one shade just to get used to the rerooting, and then maybe get jiggy with it, and then, you know, do other fun colors. So another thing that I will mention as well, that using curly hair is great when the hair is sparse. You can create your own plugs if you like, but if the doll doesn't have many plugs in the head, this one has a good amount, but if there's a doll that you have that their head doesn't really have that many plugs, and you maybe don't want to add plugs to the hair, using curly hair is a great method because it's very big and voluminous, so it'll mask any type of I guess hollowness, or I guess like little bald spots that the doll may have if they're not properly rooted. Versus having straight hair, you have to make sure that, you know, there's a bunch of plugs in the hair in order to get full coverage. But this hair, yes, she originally had like straight hair, and she can definitely get away with having straight hair. But like I mentioned, for the sake of just showing a beginner tutorial, we are doing curly hair, specifically crimped. So I will be back to show how the doll looks once everything's rerooted except the part line. All right, so here is the progress update. As you can see, her hairline is rerooted. The interior is all rerooted. And all that's left is to just reroot her part. And we will do that in the next video, just because I feel like that is a video within itself. Definitely getting like a nice rerooted part. So yeah, stay tuned for part 3, and we will discuss doing the parting as well as sealing the reroot and putting glue in the head and all that good stuff. So anyway, until next time, bye-bye.